Yeah, so for the online guys, hope my voice is clear for you. Can you please confirm on chat once whether I'm audible or not? If it's clear for you, so we can proceed for session today. Yeah, I'll on it, don't worry. Online guys, are you able to hear me? Is it clear or like not getting any response from you? Yeah, thank you. Thanks for your response. Okay, so from today onwards, we are going to DevOps part. Like till now, what we have seen are the Linux fundamentals, right? But again, like for Linux, you are going to have some separate batch which is completely free of cost for you. From today onwards, we are entering to the DevOps. So the tool number one we are going to talk about is Git. Make the heading as Git. Okay. So like before explaining the tools for all of you, one thing is very clear. So when we learned about SDLC, you know SDLC, right? What is SDLC? Software Development Lifecycle. In SDLC, what is your phase number one, sir? Plan. So for planning, we don't involve in any kind of activities. So that is going to be taken care by completely software architects. In every company, they are going to do it. Software planning, what we are going to do? Code we are going to do. What we are going to do? And one more thing here, code means we are not going to write the code. All of you, it's clear for you, right? We are never going to write the code. Source code writing is the part of developer work. But as a DevOps engineer, what is our main work is to deploy the source code. Correct or not, sir? So in phase number two, here we are going to discuss about the tool called Git. What is the name of the tool? Git. Git means Global Information Tracker. What is the meaning of Git, sir? Global Information Tracker means it can track any kind of information globally. For information can be source code, it can be on image format, or even though it can be on video format as well. Any kind of format. Okay. So let me open the live notes for you. In the live notes, I'm gonna give you like the content here. Control D. So 4 p.m. So here I'm writing it. SDLC, like in SDLC, part one is right, like planning, part two is coding, right? So for coding, which tool we are going to use, sir? Git tool. So the meaning of Git is Global Information Tracker. That means global, it can track any kind of information. Is the point clear for all of you, sir? Is the screen clear for all of you? Okay, fine. So Git file, like the full form of Git is Global Information Tracker. So I'll explain the concept, but before going for the concept, you need to have some theoretical information. For example, let's take one application. You know Paytm, right? All of you. Sir, Paytm is having single service or multiple services. So let me create the architecture for the Git here. So how the real time is going to work with the distribution of work. So I'm creating a Paytm application here, like to visualize something for you. Okay. Sir, in Paytm, let's take 4 services. How many services? Do we have movie service in Paytm? Movies. Sir, do we have a train service like train tickets in Paytm? Let's take third one is DTH and final one we have recharge service. Which service? So generally, if you open the Paytm application, these are the common services which we are going to work. And I'll ask you a question, like what is the exact meaning of application? Can anyone tell me? Exact meaning of application. Daily we are using applications, right? List me any few of the applications you are using daily. Instagram, definitely number one priority. WhatsApp, YouTube, Google Maps. Okay, definitely. If you are new to Hyderabad, it is very important thing. So these are the applications, right? What is the exact meaning of application? Exact meaning. Application meaning is collection of services. If you create an application, means that application need to have multiple services. Here, are you seeing the multiple services or not, sir? So these services are going to be developed by whom? Developers. Who is going to do it? So tell me one thing. In a project, are single developers going to work, sir? How many developers will be there? Definitely multiple. Why? Because no developer can able to develop entire 3-tier web application. It's highly impossible. For that purpose, I'm going to hire multiple developers. Let's take, I am going to give the work of developing movie service to the developer one. Who is going to develop it, sir? And I'm going to give developer to the work of DTH service. Like he need to develop the DTH service for the application. Okay. And here next, developer 3 is going to work for the train service and developer 4 is going to work for the recharge. Correct or not, sir? Why? Because all of us know one point very clearly. In a project, we have multiple developers. Each developer is going to work on individual service. Each developer is going to work on. Point clear for you? That's it. Okay, fine. So we are going to create a Paytm application here. In this Paytm application, how many services we are going to have? 4 services. What are those? Movies, train, DTH, and recharge. How many developers are going to work here? Who are those? Name can be anything. Developer 1, developer 2, developer 3, and okay, sir, fine here. You got the point very clearly. What is the main bullet point here? To develop a application, we need to have multiple services. Are you having multiple services? And to develop the service again, we need to have multiple developers. Is the point number 2 clear? That's it. And tell me, is it really necessary to hold all developers at a single place? That means developer 1 will be in India. Developer 2 might be in Mumbai, right? Like Australia, New York, Sydney. They can be from any kind of places. Correct or not, sir? At the end of the day, they need to combine all the services. If they combine all the services only, then only they can be able to create the application. Correct or not? So main purpose of Git is to, it is going to track the information globally. What it is going to do? Track the information globally. That means developer 1, like he can be on India. Okay, developer 2 will be on US and developer 3 will be on Sydney. No matter wherever developers are going to be, at the end of the day, they are going to merge the source code into one single place. Okay. Git main purpose is to store the source code, sir. What we are going to do with the help of Git? To store the source code. One more point about the Git is, whenever you go for interview, they won't ask you, tell me about Git. Okay, they will ask you, tell me about version control system. What they going to ask? Version control system. Git has 2 other names. One is VCS. VCS means version control system. And second meaning is SCM. SCM means source code management. Let me correct the mistake here. Version control system and second one is source code management. So remember, in interview, never try to expect the direct question. Sometimes they will ask you indirect question as well. If they ask about Git or if they ask about VCS or if they ask about SCM, what is the tool you want to explain them? Git. Correct or not, sir? I'll tell the exact definition of version control system now. Lot of people will have like some misconception regarding this version control system. I'll make it very clear. For example, let's take, you develop an application. That application can be anything. After 6 months, you want to update the application or not, sir? That means after 6 months, you want to change the source code. Correct or not? So let's take version 1. Version 1 is having 4 services. How many services? Like it might have 400 lines. For example, how many lines of code we have? Sir, same like version 2, I'm going to develop on future. Okay. In future, I'm going to develop what? Version 2. For example, version 2 will have 5 services and it might have 500 lines of code. Again, after 6 months or 1 year, again you are going to release the version 3. In version 3, I'm going to put 6 services. And how many lines will be there? 600 lines. Then what Git is going to do, you know, it is going to track every version separately. Version 1, I'm going to put on repository 1. Repo means the place where you store the source code. Version 2 source code, you are going to put on repo 2. Okay. And version 3 source code, you are going to put on repo 3. I'll tell one practical example for all of you. So listen to the concept very carefully. Sir, let's take one famous application. Let's take this Paytm application only. In Paytm application, initially they are offering how many services? 4 services. You are using the application. These 4 services are working very fine. After 6 months, they are going to update the application. Correct or not, sir? After updating the application, they are going to add the new service called what we call this one. Currently, we are having new service, like we can take loans as well, right? So they added the new service. In which version? Version 2. Of course, you are using that service. And again, after few months, like after 1 year, they add one more service, new service. Okay. So due to that new service, you are using, right? Application got blocked. That means application is not working fine. Understand the concept. Initially, how many versions? 4. After that, 5 versions. Now, sir, this version like a service 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are working very fine. Service is not working fine, sir. If service 6, for example, let's consider service number 6 is like net banking. For example, let's take. Sir, unfortunately, when you are withdrawing 100 rupees, it is showing 1000 rupees. It's a big bug or not, sir? Let's consider. For some people, it is telling like 1 lakh rupees as well. Then what happened? I withdraw how many rupees, sir? 100 rupees, but it is showing 1 lakh. Then what will happen? Automatically heart attacks will come for a lot of people. This is a very big issue or not, sir? So in that kind of scenarios, what we are going to do is, tell me what we are going to do. Expect. Sorry. Service patch. No. Patching is nothing, like patching is not going to possible here. Like we need to think out of the box. Someone said already the answer here. Rollback. Exact meaning. What we need to do? Sir, rollback means lot of people will think is, sir, issue is on the net banking side. Okay. Issue is from the transaction side only. We can troubleshooting the transaction issue. Lot of people will think like this. Okay. I'll come to your point only. For example, if I try to troubleshoot the transaction issue, it might take 1 hour, or it might take 2 hours, or it might take 2 days as well. How many days? Sir, if I try to keep troubleshooting like that, lot of people are going to face that bug or not, sir? Negativity will be created or not? In that case, we are not going to do the troubleshooting. What we are going to do is, we are going to do rollback. What we are going to do? Rollback exact meaning is going back to the previous version. What is the exact meaning of rollback? For example, in version 3, you release the new service called net banking. Which one? Net banking. So if the application got failed in the production, of course, in dev environment testing, and it is working very fine, but in production, it got failed. Unfortunately, what you are going to do now? You are going to do rollback. Rollback means initially you have 6 now, 6 services, but now you will come to 5 services. How many services, sir? 5 services, sir. 6 services source code is on repository number 3, and 5 services code is on repository number 2. Now tell me one thing. Without storing the each version separately, can I go back to specific version? Here, what I am doing with the help of version control system, I am storing the each and every version of the source code separately. Currently, I am on version 3. Which version? In version 3, what I added here? Net banking. It got what here? If it is failed, what I'm gonna do here? Rollback. Rollback means going back to the previous version. Like my current version is 3. And how many services I have? 6. Like my current version is 3. After rollback, I'll go to version number 2. Correct or not, sir? Sir, if I want to go back to version 2, do I need to store the source code separately or not, sir? That is what Git is going to do. That is what Git is going to. What I said, sir, here, Git is to store the source code. Okay, but how it is going to source code depend upon the version. For each version, I'm going to store the source code separately. Is the point number 1 clear for all of you? My couple of questions for you. Okay, but before that, let me write the meaning of rollback. What is the meaning of rollback, sir? To go back previous version. Okay, currently if you are on 3, you need to go to version number 2. How you can go when you have some separate code only, correct or not, sir? Where your source code is going to be on? Repository. That means Git is going to do all of this activity. Clear for all of you? Now tell me, what is the meaning of Git, sir? It's a global information tracker. What is the purpose of using Git? To store the source code separately. Why to store the source code separately? To roll back. Whenever your application is failed, we need to do rollback or not, sir? To roll back, what we are going to do? Store the source code separately. Correct or not? So this is the basic point. First of all, you need to understand. So, yeah, please. So that we have some comments for it and we have some GUI as well. So there is a concept called Git branches. In that branches, each branch you are going to store the source code separately. For example, for version 1, you can store the source code on branch 1. For version 2, you can store the branch on like that we are going to do. Like I'll tell you how to do it. So let me open the presentation once for you in the Canva. Sir, Git full form is Global Information Tracker. It is also called as version control system, or you can call it as source code management. What is the meaning of version control system? To store the source code of each version separately. What is the meaning of version control system? To store the source code of each version separately. If you see here, sir, it is my version 1 application. It is my version 2 application. Version 1 and version 2, when you compare, version 2 is advanced or not, sir? That means how it is going to advance, you know, I am going to write some source code for the version 2, additional source code. If you see here, for version 1, this is the code. When it comes to version 2, my source code is updating or not, sir? Again, coming from version 2 to version 3, again it got update or not? So if you want to update the application, we need to update the source code. All of these activities you are going to do on Git. Where you are going to do it on? Git can also be called as VCS, or you can call it as source code management. So now here, see the theoretical point I'm going to tell you. First of all, Git is used to track the files, sir. What is the meaning of tracking? To keep an eye, like how it is going to change. If the file is changed, I need to keep an eye on it. It will maintain the multiple version of the same file. The exact meaning of multiple version of same file means I'll tell you. Like for example, let's consider our project. Sir, if you take any kind of project, index.html is the basic file or not, sir? All of you know about this point. For every application, what is the basic file? Index. For example, in version 1, I have index.html, sir. What I have? So in index.html, I wrote 50 lines of code for version 1. Again, sir, when I update the version from version 1 to version 2, I'll have same index.html or not, sir? But this time I wrote 100 lines of code. Why? Because I update the code. That means some features will change or not, sir? Again, in version 3, I have the same index.html file. I have same index.html file, but this time how many lines I wrote? 150. That means file is same, but versions are multiple. Correct or not? File is same. What is the name of the file? Index.html. But how many versions are there? So this is the exact point of maintaining multiple version of the same file. Okay. Of course, for any application, the basic file will be index.html. Without index.html, we cannot create a front end. We cannot create a front end. How can we use the application, sir? Correct or not? If you listen to the class called software architecture, you can get this point very easily. So it is going to maintain multiple version of the same file. So what is the exact meaning of multiple version of same file? Can we take index.html as reference? Index.html files are multiple files or single file? Single file, but versions will be, so it is called as multiple version of same file. For each version, we are going to see the source code difference or not, sir? That's it. Now, next it is platform independent. What is the meaning of platform independent? Means you can run on any operating system. You can use Git on Windows or you can use Git on Mac OS. Linux is not OS, right? It's a kernel based. Of course, you can use Linux on Mac. Git on Linux. What it is? So it is platform independent. So you can use it on like Windows or even though you can do it on like Mac OS or even in Linux as well. It is going to support for all distributions: Ubuntu, Red Hat, Fento, like CentOS, Fedora, everything. It is free and open source. What is the meaning of free and open source? We already discussed. What is the meaning of free and open source, sir? Free means anyone can use it without paying the money, correct? Open source means? That means I already said the key points of open source. When you are telling something is very open source, first of all, source code must be publicly available. Source code must be available on where? Public. Like I'll show you this one. Like, let me open the GitHub. Unfortunately, what happened, you know, like you can get the source code of Git from GitHub only. Okay. So if I type Git source code, sir, here are you seeing the Git source code on GitHub, sir? Like directly it is on GitHub hosted. Are you seeing the code of Git here? Which source code it is? Is it publicly available or not, sir? That means you can take the source code and you can able to modify itself. And one of the interesting feature about the Git is completely written on C programming language, like not completely, 50% more than. If you see here, what is the programming language here we use? And next we use shell, of course, Perl, Python, Makefile, like these are some other dependencies actually. Okay. So Git is platform independent and it is free and open source. What is the meaning of platform independent? Run on any kind of operating system. What is the meaning of free and open source? Source code must be publicly available and we can use the Git free of course. No need to pay any amount for it. They can handle a larger project efficiently. Of course, everyone know. And coming to the point, it is the deepest point. You can get it from the Git. So when we are talking about version control system, there are some generations for version control system. So Git comes under third generation. Which generation? Third generation. And completely Git is written on which programming language? C programming. And Git comes into the market on which year, guys? 2005. So it is the small intro about Git introduction. One more time. Git main purpose is to track the files. It will maintain multiple version of same file. What is the example for it? Index.html. It is platform independent. What is the meaning of platform independent? Run on any kind of operating system and free and open source. What is the main point about open source? Source code, you can see it, you can change it, you can distribute it. And they can handle a larger project efficiently. Coming to the generations, what kind of generation is Git? Third generation. And Git written on which programming language? C. And on which year Git came into the market, sir? 2005. Okay, fine. Now coming to the point of version control system, I already said you clearly how many generations we have, sir? 3. That means before generation 3, we have generation 2 and generation 1, correct or not? When we talk about SDLC, currently we are using DevOps, but before DevOps, we have Agile, Waterfall, Scrum or not, sir? Like this, before Git also, we have a lot of tools, but those tools, we are having a lot of limitations. Whatever the concept I'm going to tell you, in interview, you are never going to face this kind of questions. But why I'm teaching is for your knowledge purpose. It is what you call a subject analysis. So try to listen here. But before going to the topic, is the concept clear till now? Everyone. Online, what about you? Can you please ping me on the comment? Is the Git introduction clear for all of you? You can ping me on comments like chat box. Okay, yeah, great, thank you. Okay, fine here. Sir, coming to the history of version control system, the first version control system we use in the market is source code control manager. SCCM means source code controller manager. Okay, fine, sir. It came on the year 1972. Which year? There is a big thing happened on the year 1972. What it is? C language, right? Whenever the C programming language came into the market, from there onwards, we started building our applications. Before C, we never build any kind of application. We use computers only for mathematical calculations only, if you know. The revolution of creating the application start with the birth of C programming language. So whenever C programming came into the market, they started to build a small application, and to store the code of that application, we are using SCCM. Now tell me, sir, to work with a project, we need to write multiple files or single file, and multiple developers will be there or single developer. But unfortunately, at that time, SCCM is created only to track the single file and give permission to single user. Clear now? That means, is it a best tool to work, sir? Why? Because we have only single file to track and we have only single developer to work. We don't have multiple flexibilities with it. For that purpose, after a few years, RCS came into the market. RCS means revision control system. What's the meaning of RCS? Sir, in SCCM, what is the disadvantage? Only single file. But RCS, you can track multiple files. Advantage or not, sir? But again, you can able to work with only single user. Again, disadvantage carry forward or not? So then CVS comes into the market. The meaning of CVS means concurrent version system. CVS means, sir, revision control system can able to track multiple files, but concurrent version system can able to track multiple files and folders. Now, which one will you prefer? CVS, but again, single user permission. Limitation came or not, sir? Then in the year 2000, exactly after 28 years of like SCCM came into the market, we are using a tool called SVN. The meaning of SVN is called as subversion. What is the meaning of SVN? Sir, subversion can track multiple files and multiple folders like concurrent version system. But here permission for concurrent version system is single user, but for subversion is multiple user. Now compare SVN with CVS, RCS and SCCM. Which one is preferable, sir? Why SVN? Multiple files you can track, multiple folders you can track, and multiple people can able to work on it. That means multiple developers we can call it as. Now, when you streamline all of those, which one is preferable to work, sir? SVN, correct or not? But again, after 5 years exactly, that means half a decade ago, like half a decade after, game changer came into the market. That is Git tool. Which tool? Sir, whatever subversion can do, whatever activity subversion can do, Git can also able to do all of these activities. But what is the difference between subversion and Git? Means I'll tell you one thing. If you write the source code with the help of subversion, like if you want to store it on subversion, you can store your source code on only one place. if we use SVN. But sir, if I use the Git now, I can be able to store the same source code on multiple repositories. Okay. If you see here, if we use Subversion to store the source code, in how many places we can store the source code here? Single repository. Repo means a folder. But in the same time, whenever I try to use Git, I can be able to store the source code on multiple repositories. Now, which one will you prefer? Why Git? Because unfortunately, if you lost the repository on one place, SVN cannot able to restore. But in Git, even though if you lost your source code on one place, you can find it on multiple places or not, sir? That is the reason why we are using Git. Apart from that, every feature is same in the initial days. Is the concept clear for all of you? One more time, I'll explain for your clarity. See, first of all, initially, which tool came into the market? SCCM. Which year? It can able to track how many files? One file. How many like developers can able to work here? One developer. Like disadvantage or not, sir? Why? Because in a project we have multiple developers and we have multiple files, so we cannot use it. Then RCS comes into the market. RCS means revision control system. How many files I can able to track it? But how many users? Again, limitation or not, sir? Then again later CVS comes into the market. CVS means concurrent version control system. How many files I can track? And how many folders I can track? Multiple. But again, the limitation is only single developer. Then in the year 2000, which tool came now? Subversion. How many files I can track? How many folders? And how many developers? Good thing or not? Then in the year Git came into the market on year 2005. Can you tell me the one difference between Git and Subversion? Git can track multiple files and multiple folders. SVN also able to track multiple files and folders. Git can able to give permission for multiple developers. SVN also able to give permission for. But what is the one thing that differ from SVN to Git is maintaining the source code. Git can maintain same source code on multiple repositories. Repository means folder. But SVN can maintain source code on single repository. Unfortunately, if you delete that repository, you cannot able to revert the source code. Like you cannot able to restore it. Correct or not? But in Git, do you have that option or not, sir? That's it. So that is what we can call it as CVCS versus DVCS. The meaning of CVCS means centralized version control system. What we can call it as centralized version control system. That means here we can track, like we can store the code on a single repository. Correct or not, sir? What is the example we can talk about here? Tell me the example for CVCS. Read this one. We can store the source code on single repository. That means which tool it is? SVN. SVN means Subversion. Second, obviously DVCS. DVCS means distributed version control system. What is the meaning of DVCS? Distributed version control system. Here we can store source code on multiple repo. What is the example here? Git. Damn sure interview point of view question, no doubt at all. Okay. Parallelly, while I'm explaining the tools, right, I'll tell you the interview questions as well. Flip your notes to back and write the interview questions. Flip your notes to back. Yeah. And write the interview question. Question number 1 is, what is Git and why we need to use Git? What is the question number 1 is going to be? I'll write it here as well for your clarity. So question number 1. What is Git and why to use? So tell me, what is Git, sir? Okay, correct. Like why we need to use it? To store the source code. Like why? Because if we don't store the source code, we cannot able to perform the operation. Is the point number 1 clear? Second one, explain the difference between centralized version control system, simply CVCS, and DVCS. CVCS means centralized version control system. That means here you are going to store code on single repo. Like what is the example for it? SVN. Second one, distributed version control system. Here you can store source code on multiple repos. Example is Git. So whatever the concepts I'm teaching, right? In that concept, you will get some interview questions. Interview questions also I'm gonna give parallelly. So note both of them. And after your practice is done, compare yourself whether you are able to answer those questions or not. Clear? Fine. Okay, sir. Fine. You said about Git. Git is the global information tracker, which is used to store the source code of each version separately. Fine. Coming to the versions, we have 3 generations. So currently we are on 3rd generation. Here we are using Git. Before Git, we have multiple things. We learned all about them. But here, if you want to work with Git, you need to know about architecture. What you need to know about? Architecture. But before going to explain the architecture, is the concept clear for all of you? VCS history. Everyone. And online YouTube. Is the concept of version control system history clear for all of you? Can you please ping me on comment? And this concept, no one is going to ask an interview. But why I teach you is subject analysis. Here we are not to learn the concepts. Here we are to analyze the subject. When you analyze these kind of things, you will get more knowledge. And you can crack any interview when you try to analysis. Fine here, yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Arun, for your response. Okay, sir, fine. Like in what kind of scenario we are going to use Git means I'll tell you. For example, we'll have a client. This client have an idea to develop application that can be any kind of application. He meet for some developer. Let's take Instagram application. This client is saying, developer, I have an idea to develop the application. I don't know the source code, like how to write it. You write the source code and give me the application. I'm going to give you the money. This developer is going to take the requirement from the client. Requirement means like what is the application, what he wants inside the application. Based upon the requirement of client, this developer is going to write the source code and he is going to release the application into market. But after 1 year later, the application got huge success. And this client want to implement some more new features with his new ideas. Then again, he is going to approach developer. Now developer is thinking that, okay, last time I done like code for the application, he gave me very good money. This time also I want to gain more money for him. So in that case, he is going to write the source code and he is going to release the application into market. Sir, when developer write the application, he checked the application on his local laptop. It worked very fine, sir. But after putting the application on server, the application got failed. Application got what? Initially, I have 4 services. Now 5th service comes into the application, right? Day 1, day 2, it is working very fine. But day 3, what happened? Fail. In that case, what you are going to do? If you want to do rollback, what you need to have? Previous version of the code. Which still you are going to use this storing the source code. Correct or not, sir? If I don't have the Git tool, I cannot able to track the versions of code. If I cannot able to track the version of source code, can I able to roll back now? No. Remember, without Git, you cannot start a project. It is the basic tool and common tool for all the projects. Of course, some people might use Bitbucket, GitLab. Depends upon the requirement, the tools are going to change. But the process will be the same. Clear for all of you? That's it. Okay, now coming to the architecture, like architecture means we can call it as stages of Git. What we can call it as? How many you are seeing, sir? Very, very easy. Let's try to focus here what I am saying for the next few minutes. When it's come to the stages of Git, okay, architecture, or I am going to write it as stages. We are having how many stages here? Git will have 3 stages. How many? Stage number 1 is going to be working directory. Stage number 1 is going to be called as working directory. Stage number 2 is staging area. Stage number 3 is repository. I'll give you some time, write these 3 stages. Sorry. Okay. Sir, how many stages we have on Git, sir? What are those? First one is working directory. Second one is staging area. Third one is okay, fine. So stage number 1 is working directory. Fine. Working directory means what exactly it means? Where we write the source code. Where we write the code or source code. Like for example, if I go to here, I'm gonna create a folder. Directory means folder. You can call it as directory, folder, or even you can call it as repository as well. All of these are going to have the common name. Sir, if I want to create a new folder, for example, let's consider here, I'm going to create a new folder. Folder name is Instagram. Which one? If I create a folder and if I create a file inside this one to write my code, that is called as working directory. Working directory means where we write the code. What is the meaning of working directory, sir? In this area, in this stage, we are going to write the code only. We are not going to do anything. Developers are going to write the source code and they are going to place it on a folder. Is the working directory clear for all of you? Working directory means where we write the... Sir, after writing the source code, we want to track the source code, sir. What we want to do? Tracking is going to be done on staging area. Which area? Staging area means where we track the code. Correct or not, sir? Working directory means where we write the code, and staging area means where we track the... And again, third one, repository. Repository means simply where we store the source code. Where we store the code. Simply, of course, you can remove where we as well. To write the code, we are using working directory. To track the code, we are using staging area. And to store the code, we are using... It's not repository, someone said here. Repository, not it is repository. Or in shortcut, you can call this repo. What we can call this? Full form is repository only, but on shortcut, we can call this repo. Fine here. Okay, sir, fine. You are telling these are the architecture of Git. So one more time. Stage number 1 is working directory means we write the source code. Staging area means where we track the code. And repository means where you store the code. So in repository only, we are going to track the entire code. That means we'll put our code there. That means even if I delete my source code locally, I can get it from there. Clear for all of you? Okay, sir. Yeah. Yes, exactly. But as a DevOps engineer, you need to know this process. Of course, we never involve in writing the source code. But sometimes we need to write Terraform configuration files, Ansible playbooks, and even Jenkins pipelines we need to write, right? So those things also we are going to store on the GitHub only. Why? Because you will never lose the code if you place there. For that purpose also, we need to learn all of this. Of course, you will never write the source code, but we will write the playbooks, manifest file, Docker file, okay, pipelines like that. So I'm going to show you this practically. So up to now we have done theoretical part, right? So now I'm going to implement the practical part. But before going for the practical part, let's recap everything from the scratch one more time. This is the 4th time I'm explaining. So please pay some attention here, even though if you miss the initial part of the class. Sir, what is the tool we are using now? Git full form is Global Information Tracker. What is the purpose of using Git? To store the source code. Here Git can also be called as version control system or Source code management. Sir, what is the exact meaning of version control system? To store the code of each version, or simply to store the each version code. Correct or not, sir? So example is this one. Initially version 1, you have 4 services. You have some excellence of excellence of code. You are going to store it on repository 1. Version 2, you are going to store it on repository. Version 3, you are going to store it on repo 3. Sir, why you are storing the source code separately? For rollback. What is the meaning of rollback? To going back to the, that means unfortunately if application started working on production environment, we cannot troubleshoot the application. If we try to do troubleshooting, that is the dumbest thing you can do. You can ask anyone, no one is going to troubleshoot the application in production environment. First of all, they will roll back and they will try to troubleshoot on their local. Clear for all of you? Of course, if you want to do, there are some strategies we can apply. I'll tell it in the middle of course. Why? Because even if I tell you, you cannot able to understand the strategies. Fine. So Git can able to track the multiple version of same file. What exactly the meaning of multiple version of same file? Index.html. Index.html is single file, but in how many versions you are going to store it, sir? Multiple. So Git main purpose is to track the files. It can track multiple version of same file. It is platform independent. What is the meaning of platform independent? Work on Windows, Linux, and Mac OS. It is free and open source. Open source means you can see it, you can modify it, you can distribute it. And of course, you can handle larger projects. Coming to generation, which generation? Git written on which programming? C programming is highest part, later shell, Perl came into the action. And coming to the year, which year this came into the market, sir? And one more thing, the person who invented Linux is the same person who invented Git as well. Who invented the Linux, sir? Git is also invented by him only, Linus Torvalds. And what is the difference between distributed version control system and centralized version control system? In centralized, we can store source code on single repo. Example is, in distributed, we can store the code on multiple repos, like multiple folders. Example is, and coming to the architecture, so how many stages we have, sir? First stage is working directory, means where we write the source code. Second one, staging area, means where we track the code. Third one, repository. Repository means, is the concept clear for all of you till now? Everyone? That's great. So online, what about you? Can you please bring me on your comments? Is the concept clear till now for all of you? If it is clear, we are going to implement this on practical part. Why? Because guys, for each and every 10 minutes, I'm going to ask, is it very clear for you? Why? Because if you are having any doubts, please don't store it. Okay? Ask your doubts and queries. If you store your doubts with you, what will happen? Nothing you will get. Correct, all right? That's it. Yeah. Seems online is comfortable with here till now here. Okay. So now let's proceed with practical part of implementation. First of all, we already discussed, sir, every tool of our course, we are going to use an EC2 server or not, sir? All of you are comfortable with creating EC2 instance? Great then. Yeah. No. Basically, they will do every activity. Here, whatever the activities you are going to learn, every activity is done by developers only. But as a DevOps engineer, you need to have clarity on all of this idea, like all of this work. Why? Because you need to write some playbooks, like DevOps files, right? Simply we can call it as. Okay. Once you write the source code, right? Developers write source code, we are going to integrate with Jenkins. So already I'm teaching Jenkins for your morning batch. Wait for Jenkins. Your real work start from Jenkins only. But DevOps will have some prerequisite to understand the Git and Maven. But your real work start from Jenkins itself. So, but directly we cannot go to Jenkins. You need to learn all of them synchronously, right? That's it. So I'm gonna create a server, Git, and AMI, I'm gonna select n-1 1. Why n minus 1? Latest one will always have some bugs. So we won't prefer that one. Instance type T2 medium. How many CPUs can I get here? How much of RAM can I get? Of course, you want to increase, you can increase. So next one, key pair. What is the main purpose of using key pair, sir? Login purpose. I have shown you how to log in with Mobexterm. Next, VPC in what we call this one, VPC networking. How many things you are going to select here? VPC and security group. And like here in the volume, I am gonna get 8 GB by default, but maximum you can get. And depends upon the EBS volume type, this is going to change. For example, if you use SSD, you can get 16. But if you go for HDD, you cannot get 16. The maximum limit is 15 terabytes only. You know this part like a HDD, SSD. Great. Of course, even if you don't know, I'm gonna teach you on EBS volume concept. Okay, there is a concept called EBS volume. There I'm gonna teach you. So let's open the Mobexterm terminal to connect our server. All of you know the process to connect, right? Tell me. First of all, you need to download Mobexterm application. You can download from internet. Directly, I'll show you how to download this application. Because some people might have some difficult to download. So click here Mobexterm download. Are you seeing the first link? Click on the very first link. You will have two. First of all, home edition. Second one is professional edition is going to be paid. We don't want it. Click on home edition. So we need to download N-1. Currently the version is 23.2, but I'll prefer 23.1. If you click on this, right? Are you downloading the application, sir? Okay, if you download the application, your work is done. But application is on zip format, we need to unzip. You know how to unzip the file, right? Then great. But even though if you don't know, I'll tell you. So if you unzip that file now, you are going to get the application like this. So now tell me how to connect. First of all, click on sessions. So here we need to select why SH? Because Linux platform will prefer SH connection. But if it is Windows, we need to use RDP. Okay, like that. So now copy the public IP address here. So I'm gonna remove all of the tabs here. So copy the public IP address of your server. And what is the default username, sir? EC2 hyphen. So whenever you are using PEM and PPK, click on advanced SH, use private key and browse here. So my PEM file is on key pair folder. I create separate folder for key pairs. Here it is my key pair 1045 aim batch. Okay. Open. Am I able to connect to my server now? So there are some updates. What is the command here? We need to run sudo m update. It is the command to update the server. Okay, like we have some packages to update by default. We need to update them. Of course, every time update will not come. If there is any update, then only it will come. Some people will ask, sir, in Crash you are getting updates, but I am not getting update. Okay, don't worry. Updates will come only few times. What is the command to log into root user, sir? Sudo hyphen I. So clear the screen. What is the shortcut? Control L. Already we discussed or not? If you want to clear the screen, the shortcut will be Control. Sir, first of all, here what I'm gonna do, you know, I'm going to create a working directory. What I'm gonna create? mkdir is the command to create directory. What is my application name? Instagram application. I want to go inside this folder, cd Instagram. Why? Because I'm maintaining some clarity. So whenever you are working on real time, right, we need to create separate folder for all of our project files or not, sir? That's it. So I'm gonna write here working. First of all, create EC2 instance. Next, create a folder and go inside the folder. Don't worry, these notes I'll give you, okay? No need to write the notes in my class. In my class, I'll tell only few points. Try to write those only few points. Why? Because these entire notes you are going to get on Google Classroom, right? Can get it from there. So now go here. Sir, how to install Git means in Linux, whenever you want to install any package, we need to use the package manager called yum. Yum is a package manager. Yum is what here? To install packages. What is my package name? By using the M, I'm gonna install a package called Git. -y means yes. -y means what? I'll add the detailed description as well, don't worry. Is it installing Git or not, sir? What is the command? Yum install git -y to install Git. So here yum is what? Yum is package manager. Okay. And here install is action you are performing. What you are performing? Git is the package name, simply pkg name. And -y means yes. This description is not required, but I am giving each and everything on your running notes. Okay. So again, with the help of yum, you are installing, sir. What you are installing? Git. -y means? Okay. So whenever you install the Git, now we need to download the repository. Without repository, you cannot store the files. The command is git init command. Which command? Git init is to install empty directory. What it is called as? That is simply what you can call as local repo. Local repo means .git. Local repo means what? If I give the command Control L, ll -a. -a means hidden files as well. Are you seeing anything here? No. But if I give git init, hit enter, and if I give ll -a, are you seeing .git, sir? That .git is to the responsibility of .git is to store the tracked files. What is the purpose of using the .git? To store the tracked files. At the end of the day, we want to write the code, we want to track them, and we want to store them. So entire operation is going to be done on .git folder. Which folder? .git means what we can call it as local repo. Here I am writing one note point, very, very important. Without .git, without local repo, that means .git, we can't perform actions. If you want to do any kind of action without Git, you cannot do so. Or simply you can call this, we can't execute commands. Simply, we can't execute commands. No. We need to download it with the help of M package manager. Nothing is going to be available on mobile system. Everything we need to download. No. If it is new server every time. For example, tomorrow also if you use same server, why I need to install Git? Okay. In server, you install packages only one time. Second time you won't install. Okay. What is the command to install Git, sir? Yum install git -a. And what is the command to give the local repository? Git init. Now what I'm gonna do, you know, I'm going to create a file vim index dot. It is a basic file. Here I am writing some small h1 tag. Welcome to Instagram. Sorry. Excuse me. This is a small source code actually. Okay. Just I'm writing for your clarity. So now developer writes some source code. Now coming to the architecture point, if I open the architecture, sir, currently we're on which area, sir? Working directory means where we can write the, have I write my source code here. Next, I want to come to which area? Staging area main purpose is to track the files. If currently I'm on working directory, is my files tracking here? Git status. If you give the git status, it is going to show your file is tracking or not. Your file is on which mode now? Untracked. If I want to track, I want to go to which area? Staging area. The command is simple git add command. Git add file name. Now, if I give git status, currently I am on which area? How can I tell? Why? Because my files are on tracking mode. Which mode? Previously it was untracked mode, but now it is tracking mode. Why it is tracking mode? Means I gave the command git add command. Which command? So commands to store a file is, first of all, you need to create a file. Touch file one, or like you can give index.html. You can create a file. Or if you want to put the content, you can also use VM index.html. Second one is git add command. Which command? Git add to track the file. Okay. And there is a command called git status command. Which command? Git status. What is the purpose of using this command? To check file is tracked or not. Sir, currently it is tracking mode or untracking mode, sir? See the architecture one more time. Everything is your architecture only. First of all, you are on working directory. You came to staging area with the help of which command? Now currently you are in which area, sir? I want to go to repository. Which command I want to give now? Git commit. Now try to give the command git commit. Commit means saving the file. Git commit -m stand for message. -m stand for I am going to give the commit message as like version 1. What is the commit message? Version 1. And what is the file name here? File committed now. Sorry, if I give the git status, it won't show anything. But it's telling you are on branch called master, nothing to commit. Every files in this folder are committed. Committed means saved. If I give LL, my file 1 is there. Is this file completed or not, sir? How can you tell it is completed or not? Because there are nothing to commit. Nothing to commit means every file is completed or not. Simply it is the process. Creating the file, adding the file, and step number 3 is committing. Command is git commit -m. Here you can pass version 1. And here you can give file name to commit the file. Guys, git status is the optional command. It is for your clarity only. To check it is tracking or not, you can use the status command. Which command? Again, one more time. This time I'm not going to tell you anything. You are going to tell me everything. So I'm going to clear it. I'll give some time for you to write the notes. Tell me the process from creating a file to committing a file. First of all, work on the architecture level. Currently, we are working directory, like which area? Working directory means where we can write the, I am writing some source code. For example, I am creating a file, Java file, touch Java 1. Currently, I want to check it is tracking or not. It is on which mode, sir? I want to track it. Git add Java 1. Currently, it will be on which status? Tracked mode. Which mode? Tracked mode means which area? Am I tracking the file or not, sir? I want to save the file. Now, if I want to save the files, I need to go to repo by using which command? Git commit -m. I am giving version 1 for Java file. Which file? Of course, I'll tell what to write on the commit. Basically, in real time, developers will use some codes. Don't worry about that. I'll teach you later. Is it clear, sir? No? That's it. Now, how many files are there? How to check these files are tracking or not? If I give git status, nothing to commit. Working tree is clean. Clear or not? Now, again, third time, you tell me. Create a file called Java 2 and try to commit it. Tell me the process. Touch Java 2 status. Okay, git status. Currently, it is on which mode? If I want to track it, git add Java 2. Currently it is on which mode? If it is tracking means I want to save it. Saving means commit. Version 1 of Java 2. Correct or not, sir? This is the process to save the files in .git folder. Which folder? Now every files are on tracking mode. Every files on which mode? So these files I'm gonna place on GitHub, but not now on tomorrow's class. Why? Because source code is safe on your local. Whatever source code you write on local, at the end of the day, we need to put on GitHub. Why? Because in local, if your source code is gone, you can access your source code from anywhere from the GitHub. For example, currently my laptop is with me. I can see my source code. For example, this laptop is broken. Can I able to see the source code, sir? But if I put the source code on GitHub, it is a platform of internet based. If you have internet, you can access source code from anywhere. So we are going to put it on the GitHub, but not now on tomorrow's session. Finally, one more command is git log command. Which command? Git log is going to show how many commits we have done. How many commits I have done till now? 3 commits. Are you seeing these 3 commits? If I give hyphen hyphen one line, it is going to show me on single line. Correct or not, sir? What is the command to show the complete logs information? Git log is the command. But if you want on shortcut format, I can give hyphen hyphen one line. So here git status is always optional. Okay, it is not mandatory. If you want to use, you can use it, or otherwise you can ignore. Git log command to check commits history. To show and if you use git log hyphen hyphen one line to show commits history on single line. So this is enough for today's session. Hey for all of you. Again, one last time, coming to the architecture. How many stages we have, sir? What are those? Working directory means where you write the code. Second one, staging area means where we track. Third one, repository means where you store the source code. So now, whatever we have seen on today's class, is the concept clear for all of you? Everyone, before going to doubts and queries. The class good for all of you? Okay, now online, can you please confirm me on chat? Is the class good for today? Before going for doubts and queries, of course, I'll come to doubts and queries. I would like to get response from you, like how the class is going for you. That's what I'm asking, Pradeep. For every 10 minutes, I'm asking, is it clear? Is it clear? Then what does it mean? I'm taking response from you, right? Okay, fine. So now, like, I'm gonna give these notes on your Google Classroom. And if anyone want to take the picture, you can take it. I'm gonna allow it for some time. So open your mobiles and take a snap of it. Today's notes I'm gonna share it, don't worry. Please take a snaps of it first initially. Okay, so in the middle of it. So guys, any doubts or any queries from your end? No one have any doubts? Okay. Yeah. Okay. You can use browser as well. See, terminal is an optional thing. If you want to use terminal, you can use terminal, or otherwise you can use browser as well. So take it. I'm counting the count. Okay, 1 second. Yeah, please go ahead. In terminal, yes, of course, same comments. Whatever the comments you are using on browser, same comments will work on terminal. Guys, remember, terminal is to connect our server only. Apart from that, everything will be same. Whatever comments you are using on browser, same comments will work on terminal as well. Okay, it's a just medium to connect to our server. Clear? So, and like last thing, yeah, take it. Is anyone new for today's class? Day 1. Okay, 2, 3. Okay, please meet me after the session. Why? Because it is the first practical class of our DevOps. Before that, Linux class is done. I'm gonna provide the videos of the Linux classes. Okay, meet me after session. And like last part. So let's go with the doubts of online and offline session for a few time. Fine. Yeah, please take it. Hi sir, this is my very first session. Is there any online session available for those who join? Yes, definitely. Like UD, please contact your admin Rajesh sir. He's going to provide the link for you. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna like ask him to paste here. Definitely, Arshad. I'm going to teach you how to use Putty as well. So both I'm going to teach you. MobaXterm I'm going to teach you as well as Putty also I'm going to teach you. Google Classroom code. Rupsai, please contact your online admin for the Google Classroom code. And one more thing, let me try to give the notes here. If it is possible. What is the difference between Git and GitLab? So GitLab is some other tool where you can do continuous integration direct itself, Vijay. I'm going to teach you like how it is going to work. What is touch command? So yeah, touch command is to create a file. So whenever you want to create a file, right? So we need to use touch command. So I would like to refer you the previous sessions. Like previously we done with some Linux session, right? So please use that one. Sir, what is about privacy or security codes for online? Vijay, you are going to store the code online only, but you are going to put some password for the repository. That means if anyone having that username and password, then only they can able to access. Sir, on the day you have installed Git using script. No, basically it's simple command, right, Riddhi? So for simple command, no need to use installation of script. So YouTube class links you are going to get in couple of minutes. Please wait for it. And Linux is going to start soon. Anyone know like when Linux is going to start? Next week, right? So we probably are going to have the Linux from next week, Munawar. Sure. And one more thing, guys, like whatever session we have taken today's, right? In next class, when I am explaining the concept, first of all, we are going to recap all the things which we have discussed. Guys, are you done with the discussion there? Call them. So discussion done there? Why? Because I'm not able to hear like what they are telling. Okay. So whenever we are going to have next session, right? So how our class are going to be? First to 10 to 15 minutes, we are going to recap like what exactly happened in last session. I'm going to tell you everything. So then your class is going to be for 1 hour to 1 hour 15 minutes. At end of session, you are going to have doubt sessions. So today class exactly stopped at 5:46 or sometime. So last 15 minutes for every day is completely for your doubts and queries. Why? Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how much stuff I'm teaching you. The only matter is how much stuff you are able to understand. Even if the course, like the duration of course is 2.5 months, even it will take 2.5 months more, like it might be 3 months. I'll teach minimal content for the day. If the concepts are difficult, right? I'll teach only minimal contents. Or if concepts are easy, I'll go with full content. Okay. But interaction is going to be the main theme for my class, especially. I'm not like coming to the class, taking the class and like telling some concepts and going out of the class. It's not like that. Whenever I'm standing here, that means everyone need to communicate with me. If you communicate with me, you can take my knowledge. If not, you will never. Clear? So for first 10 minutes will be recap, and after that 1 hour 10 to 15 minutes will be the class, and finally 10 minutes will be your completely doubts and queries. And like don't think if you ask me something doubts, I'm not gonna yell at you. Whether your doubt might be a silly doubt or it might be very big doubt, I'm gonna solve your doubts and queries. Clear? That's it. So now online, please send me the link where what is in the chat box. Which link I have sent? I haven't sent any link. And one more thing, how many of you have the Google Classroom access? Please raise your hands. Only one among you, okay. So guys, completely it is day 6 for the demo. So completely your 5 pre-demos are done. So from tomorrow onwards, like you need to register. Why? Because every notes I'm going to give on Google Classroom, right? So to get the Google Classroom access, you need to do registration. Okay. So if you feel the course is worthy for take, you can join from tomorrow onwards. So from tomorrow onwards, the person who is going to pay the money, say they are going to allow to the classes. So for more details of payment registration, please contact your admin Rajesh sir. He is going to provide you the links for it. And 1 second. So it's your 4:30 batch, right? So daily I'm going to update your notes here itself. So material, I'm going to give it as daily notes. Like you need to done payment for it, first of all, registration. If it is done, like you can get the access directly. Please contact Rajesh sir for it. So here you can get the content, guys. Okay. Give me 1 second. Online, just wait for 1 minute. You are going to get the videos.